Yes, Hotep Ma'at, peace and love, everyone. I am Ptah, here representing the House of Aten. And being that this is my introduction to the great sa.neter in the House of Consciousness, I'm going to do something that I haven't really seen too much done. And, I love your name, sa.neter. So,
oh, thank you.
I love what it means. Yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna do some teachings on what that name means and how it represents us as a whole for those who represent the Neteru. So that's what I'm going to be teaching on today.
Thank you. That's what's up.
Yes.
We ready, brother Tahuti? You want to pass the mic to him when you finish? You want to open up Tahuti or pass him the mic?
Well, what I'm going to do, I just came on here to give my blessings and give my acknowledgments to and introduce Ptah, that he is amongst of the greatest teachers in the house of Aten, and I've came here to just to let my presence be seen and let him know that I'm backing him 100% in that which he is doing tonight. This is his presentation, his show, and he will represent the house of Aten perfectly. Other than that, he can get started, and when he gets started, I will come off the screen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. All right, so Ptah, you got the floor, my brother.
All right, okay. To our great Saba Tehuti, appreciate you for coming up here with me and being here. Is that Renanet?
This is Nemez.
Nemez.
This is the male of Renanet, the husband of Renanet. He's the main child producer of the Cobras.
Okay, wonderful. Well, peace to Nemez. The crown is the Nemez. All right. So yes, peace and love. And great Elder sa.neter, I want to do something that I don't think I've seen done here before. And what I would like to do is do a live performance. So I'm an artist, spoken word, some may call rapper or whatever, but I put together tones and frequencies. So to start off the class, I would like to put some tones and some frequencies in the airwaves of the people. If that's okay with you.
Yes, of course. That's all right. Let's get it in. Let's start it.
And also, Ptah, for the very first time, this is where you're going to teach, and I'm going to fall into the chat. So he's going to take over from here. And peace, Ptah. May the Neteru energy and all the Neter and Neter to be with you. Have a great class. I will be in the chat. I'll be watching. And at the end, I'm sure sa.neter is going to open the floodgates and let the piranhas and wolves in. And we'll see what happens from there. But I'll definitely have your back all the way. Have a great show. Anku Jasaneb, Anki Ma'at, NS, Nintet Aset and Ma'at. Have a wonderful show. And I'm going to watch in the background. Peace and Hotep, everybody.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
Peace and Hotep. And sa.neter, right after I conclude the tones, I'm gonna need maybe 10 minutes or so to recover, and I have a brother in the back that I can pull up to the screen for me while I take that couple moments to refresh.
Yes.
All right. So is there any way you can make me full screen? All right. So peace and love, everyone. Peace and love to the House of Consciousness. Glad to be here. As I was just stating, I am going to do some tones for everyone. So I hope you all enjoy. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Okay, so before I actually go in, let me check with the crowd and make sure that you all can hear the tone. So if you can hear the tones, put a 9 in the chat for me, so I can make sure that you all can hear me. Okay, I see you all. Peace and love. All right. Let's see. Napashadas is very lightly here, but 9. Okay, kind of low. All right, let me turn it up for everyone. But as long as you can hear, all right. All right, let's go. Close my eyes and enter in the light. All of the colors come to life. Then I reopen up my eyes, and all I see is death within my sight. Tell me what you know is that it's like. Breathe. Every single day is a fight for life. Breathe. Demons might succeed in control of mind. No, not mine. No, not mine. No, not mine. Yeah. From the age of 5, I've been in fights. Outer body learned to take a flight. My granny taught me talking to myself, or so she thought, until she asked. I told her I'm talking to my guides. That's what she come from later on in life. Let me double check right there. Let me check and make sure. Let me check and make sure we all ready for this. Okay. Let me check and make sure. Put some emojis in the chat for me if y'all are ready. Okay. Before we actually lock in, because this is a system. Okay. All right. Okay, I think we're good. I'm watching y'all on another screen so I can see the chat. All right, let's lock in. Close my eyes and enter in the light. Then all the colors come to life. And then I reopen my eyes, and all I see is death within my sight. Tell me if you know what that is like. Every single day is a fight for life. No, not mine. No, not mine. No, not mine. Yeah, from the age of 5, I've been in fight. Outer body learned to take a flight. My granny taught me talking to myself, or so she thought, until she asked. I told her I'm talking to my guides. When we would talk about difficult times, cause like me, she was born with sight that never blinded. Spirits come and visit in the night. Stand by bed. Some are good and some are not so nice. Hold your head. Reality for her is redefined. Keep your strand. Because of that, by default, so is mine. I stand instead. For you and for you, I'll leave them. I changed the day she took her final breath. Breathe. Ancestors got me beside her bed. Lead. Welcome her with open arms and squeeze. Breathe. We ain't the same. We ain't the same. If you ever been through pain, tell them we ain't the same. Listen up if you have been through pain. Tell them we ain't the same, we ain't the same, we ain't the same. Living in the matrix, it's a lie. I see people being siphoned, I just close my eyes. Seek approval from the other side. They're denying truth all because of pride. Thankful for the gifts that I've been given. So now I live a life of service back I'm giving. Truth about the stories that were sold within religion. Proof is truly infinite. Grew up in a Southern Baptist church. There were good some time for what it's worth. But I heard gossip talk, possession disguised as Holy Spirits hover over bodies like the skies on top of earth. Hypnotism warps the vision, cause division, blinds decision, about to keep from crying. Pain is living, loved ones lost and sinning, false opinions, by in prison, hero villains. I'm here to heal them, here to heal them, here to heal them. They don't hear them. I'm here to be a voice for all the scribes in my life. Once again, I'm coming forth as conscious light, like a light. Show them we ain't the same, mute to pain. I'm like the geeks, they playing games. That's not my name. I'm Ptah, it's only right I open up. Balance intellect and intuition, build a trust within self to combat the evils that have come. Abusing the masses disguised as love. We the same, no, we the same. If you ever been through pain, tell them we the same, we the same. Open up if you have been in pain. Tell them we the same, we the same. Listen up if you have been through pain. Tell them we the same, we the same. We the same, 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 we the same. Over the horizon, arrived in a disc shining. My right hand holds dominance, but all I've done up to now is use my left, prominent. Bare my soul to strangers, a calm anger. From living pain, I'll paint the picture, humble by nature. Me and you, us and them, we ain't the same.
Yeah. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, great brother?
I hear you good. You're good. There's an echo. I'm echoing.
Can you hear me, great brother?
Yes. I'm echoing. You hear me? You hear me?
Hey, sa.neter.
Yes, sir. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, the other brother didn't hear me.
Yes, so if you can well, I'll send him the link. Can I send him the link so he can just come in
Yes.
the StreamYard?
Yeah, it's good like that.
Okay,
Send him the link.
appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, Hotep Ma'at, peace and love, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that.
Man, that was fire, brother. I loved it. The beat from the beginning, it was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. And so, yes, I have a complete project on, if you go to meduneter.com, mdwntr.com, it'll take you to my website, and I have tones there for everyone. If you all would like to partake in that and listen to, the tones. So let me send this to the great brother, the Jed. And so you should see him come in.
All right.
Yeah, peace and love, everyone. Everyone hit the like button if you are here with us live. And peace and love to everyone who's watching on the playback. Hit that like button, which absolutely helps the algorithms and these shows, these classes, these presentations support the great elder sa.neter, support what's taking place here. We have to support each other, and it's the only way that we're going to be able to go to the next levels, is support each other. So peace and love, and Hotep, great the Jets, Jim.
Hotep, peace. Fire, great brother. Fire. sa.neter, what's good, great brother? Appreciate
All right,
you.
how you, man? Good to see y'all brothers over here, man. Good.
Yes, sir. My name is the Jets Jim Ma'at MT Pauku. That ren was given to me by the great Tehuti Amu Hotep Ra. So I appreciate you, great brother, for opening up the doors for the House of Aten. That was definitely much love from you. Appreciate all the work you've done. As you see, we definitely we here to support our brothers. The House of Aten, you know, we what you call a different breed, man. We definitely understand the arena. I know a lot of battles, a lot of debates have gone on, and on your platform, and you've been father of that. So, but here at the House of Aten, you know, we just here, we support our brothers, man. As you saw, Ani, man, when it comes to his music, man, I'm a huge fan. That's pretty much all he's pretty much all I listen to. Besides, you know, a couple of others, but pretty much all I listen to, because one thing that we don't see, and everybody who is in their, you know, their spiritual walks, whatever beliefs they believe in, you don't see too many people that utilize such a gift and make whatever they do believe in and what they do follow, you know, they don't really bring that, they don't really utilize that gift. It's like two separate worlds. Like, you know, they're rapping about other things outside of the camera, and then they'll come on here and be something else. But what I love about Ani is that he's actually teaching, and he walking it, and he living it. And then so to have the gift to speak and to put that in a music form, as you've all witnessed, that's a beautiful thing. It's fire, right? And I'm not just saying that just because we are part of the same organization. It's just pretty much I was listening to him before I even joined the House of Aten, and to see his growth, and that's a beautiful thing to me, man. We definitely praise each other here at the House of Aten, man. Everyone utilizes whatever gifts they have, and we're actually building a community following after our ancestors, which is a beautiful thing. So I just love what he brought to the table. I have not heard that song, so I was just as hyped as everybody else that was in the chat. So that was a very beautiful thing. But I also want to say, you know, shouts out to our great Sabbath Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. He's definitely taught us a lot of things, man. And if y'all haven't checked him out, regardless of what your belief systems may be or how you may feel, him going up against your favorite teachers or whatever that case may be, if you really care about truth, like real truth, then you should be able to separate that from emotions. The emotions should be set aside, and you should observe every teacher. Now, that's not me saying that you know, just to abandon what you're doing. I'm just saying, like, just use your ma'ah. That's what ma'ah mean. It just doesn't mean just righteous. It's to actually observe. So if you're really seeking truth, just take the time out of your day, out of whatever you're doing in your life. Just take the time and just see, just without any biasness, just continue to try to work on, well, let me see what's being said. Can you show me can you show me proof? can you let me see if you can walk me down without having to defend what you have been defending, right? Just go on your own time and just see what's being said. See how see the love, especially when you come to the pod class. Just look at the love that's given. Like, you know what I mean? No, there's no chaos going on. If we're supposed to be true believers in whatever we believe in, that should show forth in the way how we conduct ourselves. Now let me correct myself. Let me make this straight. Like I said, I understand the arena. I understand when someone's getting in the arena and they're going up against someone. Hey, that's just how the arena go, right? But just outside of the arena, just take your time, and if you are looking for truth, just come by and just observe. And if you like what you see, then just go from there. You don't have to abandon nobody else. You don't have to do any of those things. Just come to the House of Aten and see how we treat people who come in on the podcast, and it's you brought in like family, man. That's just how it is. And we support each other. So y'all gonna definitely see it. And my brother Ptah's presentation that he's about to give, you're definitely going to be able to witness that. You're going to see the depth and how Saba has how they have, how their relationship is, and how much Saba Tehuti's teachings has impacted him, and this is what you're going to see. Like you're going to see that energy. You're going to see that frequency, and it's a beautiful thing. So once again, I definitely appreciate sa.neter for once again opening the doors, being here, not backing down for whatever you went through, sa.neter. I don't know all of your trials and tribulations you go through, great brother, but hey, to you, great brother, for hanging in there and withstanding, enduring through all the chaos, brother. So I see my great brother Ani is back. Peace and love to you all. May Ra grant you and your family health and prosperity. May your monument be established on the foundations of Ma'at, and may you all rise and come forth as conscious light, like the divine Ra, who rise and shine forevermore. Ma'at. I am the Jed, Sajir Ma'at, Himti Pawaku, favored by the Neteru, Uncle Jasineb, Hotep Mary.
All right. Peace to you, brother. Thank you coming through. Appreciate it.
Yes, to our great brother for that. As I have to re-switch energy. So yes, Hotep Ma'at, peace and love to the great elder sa.neter, Tua. I want to give you your praises and your Hinu, which means to praise, for all the works that you have put in just over the years. And it's definitely because of you creating an outlet for someone like me in a particular area that I'm in, where there's no knowledge, there's no consciousness. So being able to come to sa.neter's channel and learn, from the different teachers and the different schools of thought, and seeing what all takes place is such a phenomenal thing. So Tua, great sa.neter, for all the works that you do. And any isfet, which is the Medu Neter word for chaos, that is to come against sa.neter, he has the protection of the Neter. So that's what this presentation is about. So I will begin by sharing my screen here. And again, everyone hit the like button if you are here live. If the peace and love to the mods here at the Tehuti podcast at the House of Aten, we call the mods moderators, because mod is to moderate, which means to be in the middle, which comes from met or ma'at. So peace and love to all the mods. Keep putting sa.neter's Cash App in there, because I'm doing this particular class for him. So send a support his way. I also have my support down here at the bottom, scrolling, for anyone who would like to support me personally as well. And so peace and love to everyone who appreciates and supports what sa.neter is doing, and everyone who supports him. Dua to you. So it takes a collective to be able to combat, the Isfet out there. So let me now share my screen here. All right. So here we are, Scribal Sessions. This is something that I have put together. It's something that I have coined. Sessions. So when I come and when I present, they are called sessions. One of the Neteru words for a scribe or to write is sesh. So I put that within sessions, which is why it's spelled that way. houseofaten.org as well for those of you who appreciate teachings of Ma'at. You want the actual indigenous writings. You want to be able to listen. We have so many things that we're doing over there. So we create audio books as well of the writings. So many just creative things, productions, all based on the Neteru and Ma'at and learning the Neteru. So everyone go visit there. We have many things. So you can just take your time after the class to pervade through the website, houseofaten.org, neteru.com. All right, so let's begin here. All right, so just with the thumbnail that I created for this class here, you see a scribe right here, and his headdress is a baboon, right? So a lot of times you'll see maybe the par ee or par a, the pharaohs with the headdress, and as Tehuti came on with his serpent, which was Nemes, and that is the name of the headdress as a serpent that is common. So easy one to pick up that most people have seen is King Tut. That headdress would be a Nemes. And so the scribes were associated with the monkey, right? The baboon, one of the personifications of Tehuti, right? The Neter. And so you will see scribes with the baboon as their headdress sitting on their head. So in Ma'at, we did not have any problem with understanding. And matter of fact, we actually did the opposite. We imbued ourselves within nature around us. So when you see us with serpents, we are embodying that because it's about rebirth and rejuvenation, right? And shedding old ways and being reborn again as a more bright, beautiful being. So this is, we are sa.neter. We are sa.neter. Sa meaning the magical strength of the Neter, the Neteru's protection. And it's something that the House of Aten represents, right? We're here to get rid of opinion, get rid of assumption, and just look at the actual facts, look at the artifacts, and read directly from the papyri, the stela, the walls, and not change what these great scribes wrote. They were very meticulous in their documentation, and it was a extremely important job. And it's something that was consistent from the very beginning all the way until the Roman rule of the land of Ptah. All right, so let us begin. Welcome to this very special edition of Scribal Sessions titled, We Are Sa.neter. As my introduction to the House of Consciousness and sa.neter Studios, it is my honor to bring forth the writings of the Neteru. It is because of the scribes of Ma'at that today we have writings of an afterlife and morality that actually date to the time of the living cultures. It is my job as scribe to bring forward the actual writings and teach directly from them. There is a void that must be filled, and the great ancestors will be heard. We are the protectors of the Neteru. Right? So as the Sesh, as a scribe, another word that Sesh creates is light. Right? So as a scribe, one who writes and documents, and we understand the importance of writing, right? Being able to take something oral and then write it down to maintain accuracy. That word sesh is to give out light. And because Ma'at is a duality foundation, where when you have a left, you have a right. When you have a masculine, you have a feminine. So as sesh means light, sesh can also mean darkness as well, which is the intent of coming forward, presenting the tones, right? And the kim medu word for black, and now bringing forward the teachings. And now you see me in the hechet, which is the medu word for white, or to be bright, to light up, as a scribe here of Ma'at. Okay. So to begin this session, I will bring you to the oldest spiritual writings on the planet that details the journey of the afterlife and utilizing sound, vibration of speech to command results that in modern times becomes the concept of speaking into existence. Being an oral culture was not good enough for the followers of Ma'at, and we knew the importance of documentation to guide with accuracy and reference for the ones who are to come after. Sa.neter. For this, I will take you to what's known as the Pyramid of Unas, 24th century BCE, which is correctly called by Unas himself, the Unas Nefer Aset that we see here. Unas Nefer Aset. And I use multiple sources, and for every source that you see on the screen, you will see a reference, you will see a page number. Okay, so for those who like to take notes within classes and begin to do their own research and dig, right, which is the Medu word Kim, again, black, to dig into that, into the darkness, to be able to find that sesh, that light. I keep all my references together, so you don't have to ask for them, and they won't be just somewhere at the end. So everything that you see will have a reference to it. So this particular definition here is from the Ancient Hieroglyphic Dictionary by E.A. Wallace Budge, Volume 2, page 167, Unas Nefer Aset. So moving forward, when we refer to the pyramid text of Unas, let us begin to call it by what the actual, the owner of the Mer meaning pyramid, and what he called it, which is Nefer Aset, which means a beautiful place. Nefer being beautiful or perfection, and Aset is, as you see here, the 3 seats or thrones. It's As, and it means a place. So Unas is of the beautiful place, the name of the pyramid of Unas, which is here. So we see here in the beautiful Ra in the back. And here is the actual writing itself and the name of this Mer, right here directly on it, as you see here. Un and Is, or Unes, and then Nefer Aset with the pyramid here, directly on the Mer itself. So there's no question. There's no guesswork. We have exactly what the name of this mer is, given directly from Unas himself, which is what the House of Aten, which is what we represent. Ancestral artifacts. This is what you will always see being brought forward. And it's a standard that we all should begin to implement to weave out any lie, any isfet. Isfet is another word that means lie, because there's so much information coming from so many places. And the most accurate way to weave through that and cut out all the excess is to just go directly to the source. Okay, so here you actually see it, and you see Unas standing right here. So this is the introduction. Let me zoom out a little bit. This is the introduction to any spiritual writings on the planet, and the source of the concept of resurrection. So when you see this mer right here, you're looking at an actual place that has writings in there, and within these doors here, within these entryways, you will find the oldest that we have documented on this planet, any type of writings dealing with resurrecting, right? Overcoming mortality and death, right here. So here on the inside, right here, I have something highlighted here, a sentence here, and here it is highlighted for everyone to see up close. So I know there are many of you who are avid researchers, and I love it. I love it because in today's time, it's not like how it was 30 years ago, where it was difficult to gain access to particular information, right? There is a switch that's taking place right now that has never been accessible before. So what was only available in particular circles, those of us who didn't enter in certain type of institutions now have access to be able to do our own research and bring forward some powerful things. So here within it, you're looking at what people call a false door, which again is not what the people called it themselves. One of the names that they call was the Ra-Per, the root, and it's important for us to, let me come back here. It's important. This is important. It's important for us to understand that when we change names of any particular thing, then you now remove the original source frequency of what the person who created it wanted it to be. So whatever your name is and whatever you choose to go by, that's what you want to be called. If your name is Real Thought 910, and then I start calling you Fake Thought 019, I think that you may not appreciate that, and it gives a respect, to you, to call you what it is that you want to be called. And this is something that has been implemented within the transition of the original matrix. Matrix meaning womb. Matrix comes from the word ma'at, mut, mother, matrix, womb, uterus, to something else, to where now the frequencies are changed and the languages are starting to be switched. And now I'm going to rename you. You know what? I'm going to call this place Abydos. But its original source name is Abtu, right? I'm going to call you Sesosterus, but your name is Senuseret. And that's something that we are here to begin to re-implement. Again, take away what was given after, because we have our own language. We have our own names that we will go by. So this is going to be a continuation for a very long time, because everything has been renamed. which is, again, dealing with the tone and the sound vibration, the frequency that comes along with calling any particular thing something. So we have to restore that, bring balance back to that, because it's complete isfet to walk into a place and then start to rename everything as if we weren't intelligent enough to name things ourselves. And because the intellect of the followers of Ma'at were so advanced, the ability to communicate is expressed in so many different ways. And the language is images, right? One of the common sayings is an image is worth 1,000 words. So when we look at the images of the language, it's saying so many things. So when you take away the sound and the image that was given to that word, you take away what it means. And that is completely unacceptable. So this is the Ra-Per. And so if we look at this sentence here, and I will read to you the translation here, the Ancient Egyptian Pyramid Text by James P. Allen, Writings from the Ancient World, Unas, Burial Chamber and Passage, South Side, Pyramid Text 213. James P. Allen created his own number system when naming these texts. So within this book, it'll be W, which stands for U. U or Wu, it's the same letter. A double U is just two U's. It looks like two V's, but the V used to be a U. So it's two U's, double U. It's just the same. It's the same. So U or Wu, 146, Pyramid Text 213. And this is on page 31 of this book. And this is called the Resurrection Ritual, Burial Chamber and Passage South Side. Invocation to new life. Ho, Unas, you have not gone away dead. You have gone away alive. Which is what this sentence is here that you are looking at. So this is the very first documented sentence that we have speaking about living after death. Okay? So you have not gone away dead, you have gone away alive, which is the purpose of these writings, because the writings are based upon speech, right? So what it is that you speak is written down. So when you read, you're speaking what it is that you're supposed to say. Sit on Asar's chair with your baton in your arm and govern the living, with your water lily scepter in your arm, and govern those of the inaccessible places. Your lower arms are of Aton, your upper arms are of Aton, your belly of Aton, your back of Aton, your rear of Aton, your legs of Aton, your face of Anpu. See what I'm saying? Anubis is Anpu. Horus, Heru, mounds shall serve you. Set's mounds shall serve you. And whenever I look at English translations, I go and find the Neteru, because again, the English translation of what's taking place here is extremely limited and compressed. So as a scribe, it is very important to me to be able to look at the actual writing itself, to be able to dig deeper into what's really being said. So I put the transliteration here for those of you who study the Medu and those who want to learn. All right, this is an excellent practice when beginning to study, is look for the actual writing itself, right? So when I read this, okay, we're going to dig and we're going to find. So one of the ways that I teach is I teach people how to research, because it's important that we're able to do so. So here, ha, unas, in, which is a representation for a name. This any name goes here, right? So ha, Ptah, ni, shim, ni ka, is, meti, shim, in ka, anket. And so when we say you have not gone away dead, dead is this word right here. It's the owl and the bread loaf, right? And here's this book right here, Seth Pyramid Text, laid in 81, which is page 81. Again, we're dealing with pyramid text 213 here, 213. So Met is the word for death, and it means, it also means mother, right? So Met is what creates the word mother right here, Met, and then T, as in the Queen T. This is part of that. So when we see death right here, we know what was ultimately being said, because this is a resurrection, right? Because the death is not really a death. You're just being birthed into a new reality, which is why we created the word Mut, meaning to die, and Mut meaning mother, right? Creating Ma'at, and then matrix, and then womb, all right? The uterus, going within something to be birthed out again. So when you're dying here, you're being rebirthed through the mother, again, coming forth living, right? The very first, before any writings anywhere on the planet about living after death, this is your original source. You're looking at the very first right here, which is extremely important. 2375 BCE. Very important. Dates are extremely important. And so this is in a new concordance to the pyramid text Allen, the resurrection ritual. Okay. Right here in the Unas Nefer Aset. All right. For the very first time, I have shown you the oldest factual, documented, direct writing of living after death, which is the resurrection, right? The word resurrection is literally erect and then re, which comes from ra, to do over and over again, to rise and set, right? To res, erect again. At the House of Aten, we focus on ancestral artifacts over religious opinions. This removes assumption, which is a law of Ma'at. By removing assumption from your speech, you then become an accurate source that doesn't guess or make something up based on lack of knowledge. Everything I am to present today or ever will be sourced directly to where it comes from. This is the standard of the scribes of Ma'at. So written in the laws of Ma'at is to not assume, to be exact in your speech. Okay, so if there's something that you don't know, you say, I don't know, right? Not to make something up for whatever reason that may be. That's the opposite of Ma'at, right? It's Isfet, because it's about keeping order and truth. Ma'at is truth, to be true. And that's ultimately what's most important, because allowing yourself to be cleansed of lies for yourself, because that's where a lie originates, is within you first. And again, it's sound vibration. And so before you speak something to someone else, you know, if you're gonna insult someone, you're insulting yourself, because the sound is going right back into your ears and it's vibrating right back into you. So when you speak to someone, you're speaking to yourself, because you are hearing the actual words that you're speaking, right? And so we always understood the power of sound and the power of speech. And so we made sure that when we speak, it's exact, and that we're not adding or taking away from what it is that we're supposed to say, which is a law of Ma'at. So not only are the scribes of Ma'at the source of spiritual teachings of an afterlife, but also the source of moral teachings to guide one's life here on earth. This is the Saba'it. Saba'it here. This is in a concise dictionary of Middle Egyptian by Raymond Faulkner, page 219. And here is Saba. Saba, here's the Seneb cloth, the foot and the star, and the sound, vulture, Saba. And it means teach. Teach. of person and thing taught, teaching. Saba, and you see here classifier for a place or a space, which is school. Saba is also pupil. So again, when there's a left, there's a right. When there's a masculine, there's a feminine. When there's a teacher, there's a student. And we always understood this balance. And that's how Ma'at is maintained, by balance. So yes, Saba is to teach, and Saba is also pupil, Seba'it, teaching. And so this is what I'm going to be focusing on, because it is the scribes who brought forth the Seba'it, the written teachings or the instructions, the guidance that was given to guide one through this life. Sometimes there is an assumption that we're supposed to just know something. Common sense becomes common once it's implemented, right? And reaches a mass. But before it becomes common, it starts somewhere. So during the time that I just showed, 2400 BCE, 24th century BCE, it was not common for any peoples to have an understanding, at least through documentation of writing, of any life after a expiration of the body. Okay, it wasn't common. Today is common. Today is common that there's teachings of an afterlife and teachings of what people call a spirit or a soul. But in 24th century BCE, it was not common. Okay. And so that was the importance of the Seba'it, to teach and to instruct. And because if it was something that was you was just supposed to know, there would be no need for a teacher. Everyone would just know. Right. And so the knowledge of something is just one aspect of it. The implementation of it is another. Right. And so that's another important part of going within a school, which is what the House of Consciousness is. It's a school, right? This is a Saba, a place where everyone comes to learn different schools of thought. So we're going to go into the Seba'it, into the instruction literature that then began to teach humanity how to ascend the thought form of isfet, of negativity, and how to ascend as a being, right? As a person, regardless of what you may feel or believe. Everyone has things that we are to work on, just as an individual person. And that is what the Seba'it is here to instruct. So I will now direct you to the oldest of these written instructions, wisdom, guidance, and proverbs, to the overseer of the scribes. Ptahhotep the first, Ptahhotep I, Vizier to Ptah, Pharaoh, the Jekara, Isesi. Let me show you what's known as the Prissy Papyrus. Okay, so we're going to go to Ptahhotep I, because he did have a son, Akhethotep, and he had a son, which also was Ptahhotep, Ptahhotep II. Okay, so let's look at that. So here is the Prissy Papyrus here, and it's number 188. So for anyone who wants to look this up, Papyrus Prissy, and there's a few, but this particular one that you're looking at is 188. Okay, and I'm going to read to you the chapter of being trustworthy and what that is, right? And so here, the actual papyrus of where I'm reading from, here's the sentence that the chapter is written in red, the introduction, right? So the having the black writings and then the red writings, and the red writings were very symbolic for multiple reasons. But on this papyrus here, it's to showcase the beginning of a chapter. Okay, and so we're going to look at the what's known as the hieratic here, a more cursive form of the Neteru. And so let's read what Ptahhotep teaches, the Saba, what he teaches about this, which is, is very important, right? And so this is in the Literature of Ancient Egypt, an anthology of stories by William Kelly Simpson. Very good book. So everyone should get this. And, majority of these books you can, find online. We have access to these books. Here's a beautiful tut. Tut is the Medu word for statue, or seshep. Seshep means statue as well, to be in the image. And here in the Imhotep Museum, Ptahhotep. And so again, as I just spoke earlier, when we have an English translation, I'm also going to have the Medu and the transliteration as well, which is good whenever you're looking up words in any dictionary. All right, so you can do your own research. So I actually transcribed this myself and transliterated it. So you won't find this particularly in any book, because I use this software called JSesh to write out the Medu. All right, so if you are a man entrusted with responsibility, ir unka imsin ak, meaning also to come forth. So if you are a man entrusted with responsibility, one nobleman sends to another, be meticulous in your duty when he sends you, and deliver his message exactly as he dictates it. Ptahhotep, law of Ma'at. Be meticulous. This word meticulous comes from meti here. Meti, which is the erect phallus, is met, as I spoke about earlier with the word death. Met means to die. Met is mother, mut, and it's also phallus. Again, the balance, the duality of masculine and feminine. Okay, there's never going to be an off balance when it comes to that. It's going to be consistent in every single way from 3000 BC to 100 AD, consistent. Okay, so meti is meticulous, and it means to be right. It means to be straight, direct. So be meticulous in your duty when he sends you, or in or. This or is the word for elder, as you see the person here with the staff, the stick, which is also associated with the Saba as a stick of protection and also discipline. Okay, so habu, or in or. So when you are sent out from one person to another and you are given a message to deliver, be exact through your dictates, right? Your diction, which again goes back to the met. To dictate is associated with the phallus, right? To speak, to spit. They're both were taught simultaneously in Ma'at, because we understood the power of our speech and how what we speak is used to create, just as the phallus is. It's a seed that is spit out, and so therefore you now spit with your mouth and you create diction. And when you want to find what a word means, you go into the dictionary. That's all original and sourced from Ma'at. So deliver the message exactly as he dictates it. Resist doing anything offensive by making a comment, which could cause one nobleman to be annoyed with the other. Observe the truth. Observe Ma'at. Do not surpass it, although one should not repeat an angry speech. So here he's being very clear that to deliver a message exactly when you're sent on a mission, observe Ma'at, right? Encher Ma'at, Imsin. Observe Ma'at, observe the truth. Do not surpass it. And you see this 15 here? This says, go to number 15 in the footnotes. So that's what I do for everyone here. 15, i.e., say only what you were told to say, nothing more. And something can get switched and flipped within one person, right? And that's the difficulties of just dealing with oration or oral culture. right? Because if one isn't practicing the law of Ma'at, of delivering a message exactly, and observing the truth and not adding more to it, then things get changed. Okay? So do not speak against any person, be he great or small, for this serves only to arouse the temper. So in Ma'at, it's about being calm, right? Being exact and not dealing with angry speech, where once that takes place, it doesn't matter what the truth is. When anger gets into a conversation, it's easy to say something that you don't mean, right? A lot of things are said that you may regret later whenever you're in an angry state and you're speaking to someone you love, someone that you respect, someone that you appreciate. And when there's anger introduced, then a lot of unnecessary things can be said. And we always understood that in Ma'at. So as a scribe, as the Sabas, when we teach about speech, we teach about being exact and not repeating angry speech. So when someone says, hey, go tell this person that, though I am observing Ma'at, I'm not going to add to what you're saying, but I'm not going to repeat your angry speech. And so that's how important it was, just as an individual person, that if you want a message told that is based within anger or a temper, then I can no longer be your messenger. That's the law of Ma'at taught by Ptahhotep. So these are the words of the great elder, Ptahhotep, teaching of the mayor and vizier. As you see here, sa.neter. This Saba is the star, creating teacher, and also creating the word for door. The original understanding of a star portal, a star gate, a place that you can go in and out of. And so that's the sa.neter here. It is Ptahhotep who clearly states that the sa.neter stem from the originals who learned from the Neteru. Today, one may assert that the Neteru are only principles. What did Ptahhotep teach? So, what did Ptahhotep teach about the Neteru? Here's another beautiful image of him in his Ptah that is called a mastaba in today. Mastaba D62, if you want to look up Ptahhotep's tomb. But it's originally called a Ptah. Per meaning house, and he, a word for eternity. So the place where you are laid to rest is the house of eternity, because it's always about eternal life. Right? In one of my tones, this eternal life, without belief, close my eyes and I wake up at night. Right? So it's all about immortality and eternal life. So the place that we're in is the Ptah. It is immortality that we are embodying. If you are a ruler responsible for the concerns of the populace, so if there's anyone who is listening, either live or listening on the playback, and you are responsible for the concerns of multiple people, this is for you. Search for every opportunity to do good. That is very important, right? Every opportunity, do good, so that there may be no shortcoming in your actions. Great is Ma'at, and its foundation is firmly established. It has not been shaken since the time of Asar. Again, page 132 in Literature of Ancient Egypt, right here. So when it says it has not been shaken since the time of Asar, what does that mean? Huh? When Ptahhotep says, great is Ma'at, its foundation is firmly established and it has not been shaken. So there's an asar and there's a time of asar. So when we're dealing with time, there's a beginning point. And so here is the medu of this particular sentence. She, as in Ma'at, has been unperturbed since the time of Usir. Since the time of Usir. Right? This word rek, dealing with time of the Neter, and you have asar. So again, I'm here to just give to you what the scribes wrote, because they are the ones who brought forward the teachings, right? They're the ones who established the greatest civilization and the longest lasting. So their words mean something because they actually have something to show for it that we all appreciate here today and learn from, and gave birth to so many different things that people are unaware of, right? And so when we look at Asar, you see his name is R. Here's the I is Ardi, Iri, and Os again, just like the Unas Nefer Oset is Os. So it's also Asar's name as the throne. And then you see a symbol here, which is a falcon on a standard. Falcon on a standard. So what does this mean whenever you add it to a name, right? She has not been unperturbed since the time of Asar. So here within the Medu itself, you see the Neter classifier that also represents kingship with Heru on the standard, the falcon on the standard, who is also known as Sa, primarily in the Ptolemaic and Roman periods. Why would that be, right? During that time of when the Greeks came and the Romans, and what was taking place during that time, Heru was also known as Sa, right? That you see here. Heru, Hor, and Sa, sun. And this is from Vega, Vocabulary of Ancient Egyptian. This is a wonderful dictionary for anyone who wants easy access to a dictionary. You just type this in your search bar and it'll pull it up. And it's a great dictionary. It's fantastic and it's very easy. And there's also a mobile app as well. So you can have it on your phone and you can do your research, right? Vocabulary of Ancient Egyptian. So as you see here, Hor and Sa. Sa also being the word for falcon here. Okay, so why would Hor be also recognized as Sa, as sun, right? Especially during this time. And here is from the Purim Haru of Ani. And you have two Neteru here, which is Hu and Sa. So here is Sa right here in the Purim Haru, holding the scepter, the Usir, meaning power. Okay, and this image right here was taken from one of the great students of the House of Aten, Nefertati Saket. When she visited Kemet, she took some wonderful images and some wonderful videos. So this is a direct image from House of Aten. Okay, and so when we look at this, we may say, and I'll take you directly to the papyrus again. I'm gonna show you the papyrus, right? And so here's the actual writing. And so what does this say? So the hieratic is a little bit more difficult to begin to break down what certain symbols are. So when we look at this, I can look this up. And so here's another wonderful source for anyone who wants to study the Medu, right? And so that's what I'm about. My teaching, I put so many powerful sources and give it directly to you, right? So you can do your own research because I want everyone to have the same opportunity to find out whatever it is that you're searching for. If you're searching for truth, then that's what I'm going to provide to you. So here on the papyrus, Egyptian 187, Papyrus Pris, Ptahhotep 75 through 123. Here is the sentence that we're speaking about with the Ra here. Here's the Ari, here's Os, and then here's the falcon on the standard. Right? And how do you know that? Because you can go here and you can look it up. So this is the hieratogram 9402 of the falcon, and here's the hieratic. So you can see it. And it tells you right here where this is actually used. So Bibliothèque Nationale de France, which is where the Papyrus Pris is, Egyptian 183. So the exact papyrus that I'm showing you of Ptahhotep it's referencing that papyrus for this handwriting of the hieratic. And here's the link if anyone wants to look that up. All right. And so on this same papyrus that we have, there's two writings, right? So one thing that we did as scribes is whenever we were writing, we would take certain writings and we would use them within our schools. And so it would be passed down, right? And so to practice the Medu, we would write it and that would continue. And so that's why you have multiple sources of a particular Seba'it or story because they would be utilized as practice in the per Ankh, in the schools that the scribes would go to learn the Medu, which was a lifetime thing, which again is written. It speaks about for the first 10 years of your life, learning about the importance of life and death, right? From birth to 10, you're learning about life and death. So we see, which is in the Seba'it, I can show. But yes, we would document and we would write and we would copy. So this particular papyrus, this Pris Papyrus, has two writings. It has Ptahhotep and it has the teachings of Kagimni. And the teachings of Kagimni are phenomenal as well. And it teaches deeply about the belly, right? And overcoming that. Because we always understood and taught the importance of the stomach, right? And the intestines and how that is a second brain, right? And so learning how to become disciplined within that what you intake, you then are in more control. So Kagimni is also written on this papyrus. Very powerful writing. Everyone go read that. The teachings of Kagimni. Here, that's right next to Ptahhotep on this particular papyrus. And so that is where this sentence here, where it is referencing this writing. So the majesty of the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Neteru, was established as what? A benevolent king. What's that word for king? And you see Nesut here. You see Sut, which means king. And you see the Heru standard behind him. So this represents a king, right? And this is talking about the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, Neteru. You see the Shin here, Nesubiti, Neteru. And then you see Sutin, again, king. And so when we look up the word Neter, and this is from a concise dictionary of Middle Egyptian, the modernized online version that's more clear to read, unlike the handwritten version that I showed everyone when showing the definition for Saba. So I read both because there are definitions in the handwritten one that aren't in this one, but this one's easier to read for most people. So when you see Neter, it says God, and then used of a king. Used of a king. So there was no separation between a Neter, which is translated as God, and an actual living being as a king. And why is that? Is because we always taught that the Neteru themselves were living kings. This consistent throughout the language, there was no debate when it comes to the scribes of Ma'at from the beginning to the end on whether or not the Neteru were physical beings. So yes, you will see the kings being represented as Neter, Nefer, Neter, right? Which you'll see translated as either the beautiful God or the perfect. Nefer is a word that also can mean perfect. And you see Heru here as a Nefer Neter. The Nefer Neter, what everyone within Ma'at is living for, to become a perfected Neter, right? That's why the Seba'it exists, right? To teach us how to perfect ourselves. In modern times, there's a thing that says, there is, perfection is something that can never be attained, which is true. But when you place that as your standard, you can only go up. There is no limit. There's no limitation. So you just continuously rise up and becoming the Nefer Neter, just as Ra, just as Heru is here. And so you see the Neter symbol and you see the hawk on the standard here as a variation of the Neter, God as a king. So it is clear that the followers of Ma'at, the scribes who wrote down the Seba'it literature, taught that the Neteru were literal kings once on the planet, who established Ma'at, and through the Neter Tehuti learned the laws of Ma'at. It isn't until the Greek historian Eusebius, that this is changed. So consistently from the beginning all the way up to Eusebius, the Neteru were literal kings that brought forth the concept of kingship to the planet, to the Nile Valley, 4,200 kilometers, not just Egypt that people know today, where the Giza complex is, from the very top all the way to the bottom, that people today know as South Sudan or Kenya, Nubia, those areas. The whole Nile were following Ma'at consistently, nonstop, with no break. Even though there were ups and downs, right? When you're speaking about 3,000 years of something, of course, right? It's difficult in today's time to even conceptualize 500 years of something lasting. So yes, 3,000 years of consistency, of showing that the Neteru were kings. That's what the scribes taught. So until the Greek historian Eusebius, that this has changed. So by stating that the Neteru are only principles, you are echoing the Greek teachings and not the original indigenous writings of the scribes themselves. So dua to the great Seshu, the great scribes, the great Seka'u, word that also means memory, dealing with the writing, which is very important, right? Which is why we did that. We wrote to create a memory, to learn the language, but also for purposes of Heka'u that we will get into. So this is the protection that the House of Aten is establishing, once again, keeping the name of the Neteru alive, right? By doing one foundational thing, echoing what the ancients said. House of Aten, the Neteru exists. It is of utmost importance to begin breaking the false matrix that was put in place by the Ptolemies and the Greeks once they came of rulership with Alexander III of Macedon. But do not be deceived. The Greeks, before Roman rule, also knew and continued the fact of the Neteru being god kings on earth. Not only that, Alexander took on the reign of Aten, just as the Per-Ii Akhenaten did. So how many of you knew that Alexander III, one of his names when coming into Kemet that he attained was Aten? Right. So here is a wonderful website here, pharaoh.se. His golden Heru name, Heru perched on a gold, which was associated with eternity. The noob, right? the Nub or the Neb, dealing with gold, and Neb meaning all, which then creates the word for Lord, being associated with Ra and the shining of the light, right? Encompassing all areas. So here is Alexander III's golden Heru name, Ka Nakat, Kui Baket Heka, Uach Wo, Shenu in Aten, the strong bull who protects Egypt, the ruler of the sea and of what the sun, Aten, encircles, Shenu. And so here's Alexander here, holding a plate, giving an offering to men. Men, as you see, with the erect phallus, men means to be firm, right? Which creates the concept of something being brought into existence. The etymology of the word existence comes from the root word sta, and sta means to make something firm. And by making something firm, it now exists, right? And so this was the representation, because the followers of Ma'at were very complex within their ability to communicate. And we took natural nature and then associated it within the imagery that we embody. So yes, us, but also the animals around us. And it continued. So here is Alexander giving offerings to a Neteru, right? As he comes forth as the strong bull who protects Egypt. So two of his names were dealing with the protection of Egypt, because another one was Mat Kemet, to protect Egypt. Okay, so this is to show the consistency that continued, and that even with Alexander and the Greeks coming in, there were multiple things taking place at that time, but dealing with just Kemet and Ma'at, it was completely understood that we are physical beings, and it was always worshipped. So Alexander the Great, crowned at Luxor Temple, East Bank Valley of the Nile, here. All right, and for anyone who have come in after I got started, asking everyone to please hit the like button. Hit the like button, which helps the algorithms here on YouTube, help our great elder sa.neter support, keep posting his link as well. Support the great sa.neter, support what he's doing. I also have my link scrolling at the bottom if you would like to support me as well. Cash App any Ptah. If any mod wants to put that in the chat as well, I would appreciate it. So to all the mods, the moderators of the House of Consciousness, Tua. So the Aten family of the 18th dynasty were a family of scribes, including his daughters, led by Akhenaten. A focus was placed on Aten, in which a Nefer hymn was created that embodied the teachings that continue to be rewritten into the Common Era, taking the hidden form of Amen into the visible as Aten, right? So yes, Akhenaten and his children were scribes, and this is Scribal Sessions. That's the theme of Scribal Sessions, right? Is to teach about the actual scribes themselves and what they said, and to bring forth the actual people who are documented to have writings and teachings. That is my focus as a scribe. And so here we have the hymn to Aten, page 280 of the same book that I referenced prior, Literature of Ancient Egypt by William Kelly Simpson. And we're going to read from right to left. So if anyone didn't notice, I started off at the left, went to the right, and now we just go down to the right. and then we work our way to the left, because the Medu Neter was able to be written from left to right, right to left. So again, I echo what the great scribes brought forward. So that is also how I put together my sessions, my scrolls. So now we're going from right to left. You who places seed in woman. Again, we're reading the hymn to Aten. You see the wonderful image here. You who places seed in woman and makes sperm into man, who brings to life the son in the womb of his mother, who quiets him by ending his crying. You nurse in the womb, giving breath to nourish all that has begotten. When he comes down from the womb to breathe on the day he is born, you open up his mouth completely and supply his needs. When the fledgling in the egg speaks, in the shell, you give him air inside it to sustain him. When you have granted him his allotted time to break out of the egg, he comes out from the egg to cry out at his fulfillment. And he goes up on his legs when he has come forth from it. How plentiful is it what you make? Although they are hidden from view, sole God, without another beside you, you create the earth as you wish. When you were by yourself before mankind, all cattle and kine, all beings on land who fare upon their feet, and all beings in the air who fly with their wings. 1400 BCE. Okay, so I'm walking everyone down through a timeline, starting with the Unas Nefer Aset, 24th century BCE, and we're just going to work our way more towards the Common Era. Okay, so here's the hymn to Aten, 14th century BCE, around 1350, around there, during the reign of Akhenaten. Okay, so again, dates are extremely important whenever we're doing our research, to be able to siphon out placing something that is separated by a long distance of time, and then comparing them in different ways. So dates are extremely important. So there is even a strong misconception that Akhenaten introduced monotheism. Some even question his actual existence. This again is false. Modern thought processes that have been warped by teachings that do not originate with us permeate the minds of people today that create this confusion. This is the purpose of the Matrix, to birth you into a reality that is based on falsehood and illusion, which is why I teach the way that I teach, and to show people how to just cut through it. Because once you are able to see something, it then can become a reality for you, because now you can do the same, right? So dua to the great Akhenaten, and some of the important things that he did in wanting to bring things back to source. But of course, there could have been a better way to do what he did. But that's the purpose, right, of this Ankh, right? You live and you learn. And if you want to improve on something, you learn from the ones who came before. That's something that I've noticed is difficult for a lot of people, where sometimes you just want to learn the hard way, right? You want to get knocked upside the head before you say, oh, you know what, I should have listened to you. And so what we do is we look and see what the ones who came before us did, and we look at what was great about it, and we look what was not so great, and then we just improve on what was not so great. And we continue to keep moving forward, right? And not be stuck in a loop, just running around in circles with no growth, and nothing is able to get built. If we want to build, then you have to move forward with something. Okay, so dua to the great hymn to Aten, which is also a part of my ring, right? Aten Tehuti. Aten is also a word that means mirror, right? It's the sun, it's Ra, but it also means mirror, being a reflection of Ra. So very, very Nefer. So the Par-ee who concluded what the Egyptologists considered the 18th dynasty is Horemheb, right? So it went from Akhenaten to Tutankhamun, whose original name, some people may not know this, but it's Aten. His original name was Aten, Aten. And so it's, but then it was changed to Tutankhamun again. Who concluded what the Egyptologists considered the 18th dynasty, Horemheb, who was scribe general, took reign after the short rule of A, who ruled directly after King Tutankhamun, who is the son of Akhenaten. So when we look at Tutankhamun, his name is 3 words. You have Tut, you have Ankh, and then you have Amen. Okay, and so Tut, and I touched on it earlier, Tut is a word that means statue. Here, Tut is statue, which then also creates image or figure or the likeness of something. So when we look at Tutankhamun's name, it's the likeness or the image, living Ankh of Amen. So his name means the living image of Amen. Originally, the living image of Aten, which is Ra, right? So yes, Tutankhamun was the living, he was the image of Amen. And so here is Horemheb as a scribe of the king, 1336 to 1323 BCE, reign of Tutankhamun or Aya, object number 23.10.1 for anyone who wants to look this up. And you see here, you see a scribal palette right here laying on his shoulder. It's a little difficult to see, but you can see it. You can see it here, as he was a scribe who then became king, Par-ee, Par-a Pharaoh, Nesubiti. And so, what does the scroll that King Horemheb is holding say? What does this scribe of Ma'at teach? All right, so here on the statue, on his tut, there's actual writings on this. And so what is he teaching? What is Horemheb teaching? So let's read that. I'm going to read that all to you. So here is an image of the transcription of it for those of you who, and I've only found this in one place. It's very difficult to find this, but I'm working on many projects and I'm doing many things, but this will suffice for now. And I have checked over it. So here's the actual Medu, Neter, and you see the first word, Dua. And what's this word here? If anyone knows what that is, put that in the chat. Answer who we're giving Dua to here, as Horemheb is documenting in stone for those to come after here. So go ahead and answer if anyone knows who that is right there, if anyone can read that. Yes, peace and love to everyone. And again, for those who are just coming in, hit the like button as you come in. Assist the great Elder sa.neter in the House of Consciousness by simply liking the video. All right. Yes, there we go. Tehuti, Asar Mka, Hotep, good brother. Peace to you. Minty Hotep says Tehuti, Heru Karast, Tehuti. Absolutely. Dua, Tehuti right there. So we're going to read this dua and see what Horemheb is teaching. Adoration, and you can get this translation at the Met Museum itself. So whenever you look up that object number, if you type in scribe Horemheb statue, it'll pull right up for you. It's a very famous statue. So the translation is there. So that's what I put on here. Adoration of Tehuti, the son of Re, the moon, beautiful in emergence. Moon is the word Yah, and it becomes the name of Tehuti. Tehuti's name is Yah. Lord of appearances, who illumes the gods by the hereditary noble, high official, fan bearer on the king's right. Chief general, royal scribe, Horemheb, justified, saying, hail to the moon, hail Yah, Tehuti, bull in Hermopolis, dwelling in the Hermopolitan necropolis, passerby of the Neteru, the knower of secrets, establisher of their utterance, who distinguishes one report from another, who judges everyone, wise one in the bark of millions, the boat of millions, who waits for human beings, who knows a person by his utterance, who denounces an affair against its doer, he who satisfies Re, who informs the sole Lord, letting him know everything that has happened during the night. When he calls from the sky at dawn, not forgetting the report of yesterday's events. Sprout of the night bark, who makes the day bark content, who stretches out his arm, which is always associated with Tehuti. You also will see him with an outstretched arm. Yah, with his outstretched arm. At the prow of the boat of pure-faced, who takes the stern rope of the day bark for him, rejoicing as the night bark rejoices on the feast of crossing the sky, who overthrows the rebel serpent and breaks open the western horizon, while the Ennead, that real word is the Peshjed, which means 9, that they, again, take away the power of the Peshjed and what that means, but they translate it to Ennead in the Greek, of gods in the night bark, give adoration to Tehuti, saying, to him, hail, son of Re, whom Re favors for what he does. The Neteru have become elated, repeating, what your ka loves, what your double body, what it loves. You open the way for the place of the boat. You do what is necessary against that rebel serpent, lopping off his head, shattering his ba, taking his essence into the fire. You are the Neter who performs his slaughter. Nothing can be done without you, the orderly one, son of order, who came forth from her flesh. Here's Horemheb on his tut, speaking about Tehuti, the orderly one, who does what is necessary against the evil serpent, Apep, right? And bringing his essence into the fire, off with his head, shattering his ba, evil, Isfat. It's the personification of evil, right? And Isfat. So as a scribe, which the scribes are the followers of the Neter, Tehuti as the original scribe who brought forth the Medu Neter, right? The language itself that the scribes themselves say. No scribe says, I created this language. They attribute it to Tehuti, who Horemheb here says came forth from her flesh. Savior of Herakuti, who enters Heliopolis wise, placemaker of the Neteru, who knows secrets and reveals matters. Let us praise Tehuti, the accurate plummet in the balance. So he's represented as the plummet on a balance, on a scale, right? The plummet is what allows the scale to be balanced. And so when you see a scale, you also will see a baboon sitting on the top. As I started this session off with, and teaching how the baboons are associated with the scribes, and because it's Tehuti. And this word for plummet is tek or tekin. And that's the name of the plummet, which then is a name of Tehuti, the tek. And then later it gets put into the Greek, creating the muses or the arts. the muses were the protectors of the arts, and they called it the techni, which comes directly from Tehuti. And then the muses is what creates the word music, coming back from the root word min, meaning to think. So the tones that I create are about knowledge, right? Because that's the original source of what music always was. It made you think, right? It made you feel something. And then that goes back to the techni, and then the tech, which is the plummet on the balance, the thing that allows something to keep balance, which is also a representation of Tehuti being accurate, who rejects disorder. If disorder, reject it, throw it out. We do not accept disorder, disorganization, right? That's connected to a pep, right? That's connected to the isfet that causes confusion, right? So as a scribe of Ma'at, we reject disorder and accepts the ones who is not inclined to transgression, the vizier who judges affairs, who resolves conflict. That's another very important thing. And only one who is calm, only one who is ordered and organized in their ib, which is the Medu word for heart, which is actually the source of the mind. In modern times, we have this concept that the mind is something that has to do with the brain, but the mind is connected to the ib. And it was always taught that your decisions come from your heart, right? What you want to do comes from here. That's what leads you. And so that is why when you look at the statues, when you look at the tuts, when you look at the par-i'is, you'll see them with their left foot forward. Left is the Medu word ib, and because the left foot forward is a representation of you leading with your heart. And when you lead with your heart, then you make decisions based on what is beneficial to you and doing good, removing disorder, right? And no one lives without a heart. You can be brain dead and still breathing. The heart is single-handedly the most important organ of the body that we talk about leading with and making decisions based on your heart. If it doesn't associate with that, then don't do it. And that allows one to begin resolving conflict peacefully, resolving conflict peacefully. The scribe of the mat, who fixes the scroll, who drives off falsehood, but accepts the bearer of a healthy greeting, who supports the oath taker in the midst of the Ennead, the Peshjet of the Neteru, who raises up the one who has been ignored, who has a wise face for one who has gone astray. He who remembers the fleeting moment and reports the hours of the night, and whose words remain forever, who enters the netherworld and finds out what is in it and registers them in his list. So Dua Tehuti, and which I am an echo of, a reflection of. My name Aten Tehuti means the mirror of Tehuti, to reflect Tehuti. So it is an honor to be able to bring you all, the writings directly from the ancestral artifacts themselves, and teach, as we always taught in ancient times, about Ma'at, right? Order, structure, organization. And that is what allows one to begin to do some powerful things and build, right? It's the isfet that keeps us from being able to come together and build something. It's always disorganized and disorderly. So nothing ever gets built. And then when something begins, it's again the isfet, the energy of a pep, who wants to come and destroy a foundation of something. So then it no longer exists. For something to exist, it must be firm. And if it's not firm, then it doesn't exist. And that is the purpose of a pep, right? That's the purpose of isfet, to destroy. But for those of us who want to build, for those of us who follow Ma'at, and when I say Ma'at, it's Ma'at is the oldest word on the planet for truth. Okay, so when we're speaking about truth, we have to understand that that concept comes from a place. It didn't just pop out from nowhere. Okay, so when we speak about Ma'at, we have to understand that it's the oldest word for truth. And that is what began to allow the building of creation within one of our stories, right? So when Neteru, the Lord of the outermost limits, Neteru, in one of the creation stories, there's many creation accounts because as scribes, it's a poet, it's a poetic language. And so as a poet, as a writer, as one who studies different concepts of writing and getting an idea across through a language, it gives me an advantage when looking at the Medu and understanding by putting myself in the position of the scribes of the time and beginning to understand what were they conveying. So in that particular account, which is also simultaneously in a papyrus that is about overcoming a pep, the slaying of a pep, which is British Museum number EA 10188. So if anyone wants to look that up, the overcoming of a pep, and it has it has two creation accounts, the same creation account just told in two different ways there. And when there was creation at the beginning, when there was nothing to stand on, right? There's no place to stand. It is Ma'at that was put into place, which is the standard. It's the foundation. It's what you are able to stand on. That creates your standards. And because of that, you're now able to stand firm, which means you are able to come forward and you're able to exist as an actual being. And simultaneously, that standard has to be truth for it to maintain itself, to be firm, to be men. It has to be truth. If it's not men, it will break, it will fall. And that's what we see so often within different communities and different circles, because it takes a collective, right? There is not one person that can do all things, right? It takes a collective, just like within the followers of Ma'at, 3,000 years of consistency, of organization to allow what was constructed and built to last, to now where I'm here before you today in 2024 on 12/27, right? 27, which is 72, which is a number of Tehuti, bringing to you the writings, because what we're reading, what they taught, they lived. They didn't just teach it and not live it. They actually lived the teachings. So therefore they were able to create what they did and build things that we don't even have an understanding on how they did it today. You know, there's this misconception that in today's time that we're so much more advanced, but that's an illusion. That's an illusion. And by having that concept within your mind, it disables you because we're not able to receive from what the ancients did and understanding that the Tekken, which is Tehuti, which creates the word technology or to be technical, by learning what they did and understanding that there's different forms and variations to do so many different things, and learning about immortality by being structured within your mind, within your Ebe, allows you to do some very powerful things that today people have lost the knowing that you have some very powerful things that you can do within a body. You know, the original computer was you. You are the one that computes. The body is a technology itself that most of us have yet to really begin to learn. And when you open up your mind and you become organized you're able to utilize the body for what it's actually capable to do, and very powerful things. So when we teach about Ma'at and all that comes with that, its foundation is truth, right? We have to kick away any isfet, because with the seed of something, it can then begin to sprout and grow and take over something else. So every single day, as Ptahhotep teaches in his Sabayit, there is no pinnacle to what you create. That word create is himu or himet, which then is associated with Ptah as the craftsmen. So the craftsmen were also called the Hemetiu, as the creators and builders. So everything that we do in the physical, whatever this physical world, whatever we're doing, we always had it tied back into our immortality, the actual consciousness that can exist and does exist outside of the body. And with the proper software, you are able to do and tap into those codes of the hardware. So it is Tehuti who enters the Neteru, finds out what is in it, and registers them in his list. Tehuti, who is known as the baboon, a symbol of the scribes, is documented and credited as one who is instructed by Ra to record that which is in the duat. All right. The word dua, you see me do this, it means dua, and it means to give praise. And it's also a name, one of the names of the hidden realm. Again, the glyph is a star. So being credited as the one to record that which is in the duat, instructed by Ra, in which Ptah is documented as being the creator of. What does the word sa also mean? Sa also means the sacred baboon. Sa, a god who gave praise. An ape neter, a foe of a pep. All right, as I just read about Tehuti and chopping off the head of Isfet, of evil of a pep, throwing them into the fire. This same word sa, as an ape neter, again, is fighting a pep. As you see here in the Horemheb of Ani, British Museum number EA 10470, for those who would like to look it up. 1250 BCE, with the Sa here, and Dua raising up Ra and the Ankh here with the two arms, which we also created candle holders. So everything was an imbuement. Again, something that's been misconstrued today is we've lost our connection to language. So no one really understands what they're speaking, what they're saying, and we're disconnected from nature, which is a language in itself. That's why we were able to create the Medu Neteru. So everything that we had was a representation of the language. So we had candle holders that were ankhs and had arms to hold the wick. It's just phenomenal to me. To be able to create something, the chairs, the beds are imbued with nature. Everything. There's not one thing. A bowl, you'll see a bowl with feet on it. It's the Medu word ani. It means to come forth or to bring. So whenever we're just living our everyday life, there's a language that's being spoken, because we created the language based on life, based on us, based on the things that we see and we experience. So when you see this in the Purim Haru, you can turn around to the left and you can see your Ankh with arms holding your wick with your set fire burning, and you can see your incense. And it's Ba. Here's the word for soul. It's a light. Keep your Ba, keep your soul bright, keep it lit. You know, that's what life is. It's the flame that continuously burns. Let your fire continuously burn. And by doing the laws of Ma'at and removing just the isfet and overcoming the things that keep us from acknowledging what the actual facts are and what the truth is, that flame begins to burn out. And there are many who take advantage of that. So this is Sa, a Neter who gave praise, right? The baboon, a representation of Tehuti that we see here in the writings. So let me now take you to the oldest portable writings of immortality of the soul, the Pert Im Haru, coming forth in daylight, 1275 BCE. The Papyrus of Ani, it's supposed to be 1250. So I'll correct that after I am concluded. But there are Pert Im Harus that actually are older than this one. But this is also one of my Rens, right? Ani, as the scribe. So I chose this particular Pert Im Haru to teach from. And so here we are. You see Sa, which is also a protection. Sa means to protect, right? Sa.neter, protection of the Neteru, right? And it's also an amulet that we would wear as a symbol of protection. And you see Ani here with his left foot forward, his Ib as he's traversing with his Hemet, which is the Medu word for wife, the Hemet from him, which also creates the word to sit, associating with the birthing process, because the women would sit to give birth and not lay on the back. And so that's him, and it creates Hemet, which is wife. And you see both of them with their left foot forward, their left side forward, representing their Ib and their what? Pert Im Haru, coming forth in daylight, coming forth as light. So what is their garments? Their literal suns, as they are traversing in the Duat, right? They're a conscious light. As you see her wearing, holding the instrument here, which is known as the sistrum. The Medu word is sekem, meaning power. It's a divine power. That's that sekem, which then is this musical instrument here. And you see the offering table. Again, EA 10470, and this is the second plate here. And then here is Ani's name. You see here, who is Asar, because you are becoming Asar, because you're resurrecting, just as Asar did as well. Asar, here's the scribe, and then Ani here, as he is coming forth in the Duat. Here's the Duat here. So this is the protection amulet, and you see the two Sas here in Dua with the symbol for Dua up to the what most may know as the Eye of Horus, or Eye of Heru, the Eye of Ra, which is the word Ucha or Uachit. So this is, again, when you're looking at the image, because the language is made up of images, I'm able to translate what this is saying, because this is speaking. And so just as we can look at it on paper, when you turn around and you're connected to nature and you have your serpent named Nemes, you're now building a relationship through the language by creating something that is in your actual vicinity that you can grab and touch, right? In nature, everyone, you have eyes, you have ears, you have a cot, you have a body, hands. And this was what then created the language. And this is why it's so deep. And it's very deep. And I give classes every Friday for those who are within the House of Aten, which, feel free to come visit us and join in what we're doing. There's a lot that's taking place and we're consistently building and growing. But I give classes to the Kuru, which is those who are within the house. The Kur is also a word for voice. Every Friday on the sa.neter, and I go deep into the Medu, and I give classes and teachings from the sa.neter that you won't get anywhere else, because you have to live ma'at to be able to open. There's a reason why eyes are such an important aspect of ma'at, and ma'at is is the symbol of an eye. Okay, so that's truth. To see the truth, the foundation, ma'at, and you see the du'at here, and you see these symbols coming off of it. That means something. Here's a floating eye right here with some interesting symbols. So what does it mean? All right, and I'll get into that. But du'a, right, to the uwachit or ucha, which also means health, to be healthy, to have a healthy sight, allows you to see the isfet, right? And it is a part of heka'u. It is a magical thing. And all of us have experienced, I'm sure, when you're looking for something and you can't find it, but then when you just stop for a moment and you sit back and then you just turn and then it's right there. The whole time what you was looking for is either right there or you even have it on, right? And because it's a blindness that takes place. And we taught that through the teachings of immortality, and we always understood that there are levels and layers to sight, to what you can see. And it doesn't just associate with what you see with your two physical eyes that's right in front of you. The ability to see is permeated all throughout different forms that we also see within nature, and such as bats being able to have sight through sonic location, through sound. They're able to see, right? And you also can hear that from people who may have particular disabilities, who may have been born blind, have a different heightened sense of hearing. And so because that part is cut off, you're able to enhance. And we can then begin to do that without actually permanently cutting the thing off, by understanding that we have the power to be able to do some what people call supernatural, right? It's a natural thing that's super. It's a little bit extra than just normal. And we all have the ability to do these things by first implanting it within your mind. Second, cleaning out any isfet, cleaning out what it is that you're placing within your eyes, within your ears, and beginning to organize and treating yourself as the temple that you are, right? That comes from ma'at. The word for body is per or het, like het heru, which means house, right? So het heru is the house of Heru. She's the house, right? And so now Heru is within the house of the mother, which is the womb. And so when you treat yourself like that, you treat information the same way. You treat your speech the same way. And so by remaining calm within situations, and by cleaning out any of the lies and just all of we're taking in information consistently, nonstop, constant, especially in today's time. You got this over here, you got social media. Just now, there used to be a time when people appreciated longer forms of information. Now it's just been collapsed. Like where TikTok is, it's a few seconds and you just scroll, but the scroll is infinite. You can scroll forever, 5 seconds of something, and it's just dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, and it dilutes your abilities. So you have to learn how to disconnect from particular things and go within self, so that you can then begin to have a healthy sight, whenever you're traversing within your life and you know how to discern, right, properly. So sa is a protection and it's an amulet that is representative of the baboons here. And as you see here, sa, which is baboon, sacred, and sat, a protective chamber. Sa'u, keep, protect, take care, respect. Sa'u, guardian or protector, which then also is the magician. Sa'u is magician as a guard and a surveillance. And as you see here in 10470,33, the 33rd plate of the Per Meru of Ani, you see 4 baboons here. And does anyone know what they are sitting on? What is this image? If you was to look at this, and for those who may know and you may not know, which is perfectly fine. I don't know is one of my favorite answers. I love when someone says, I don't know that answer, because now you're able to learn, right? When you say, oh, I know what that is, and you don't, you're blocking yourself off. It's only affecting you when one does that. So what is this that these sa are sitting on? If anyone knows, I'll just give a few moments to see if anyone can put that in the chat. Again, to everyone, make sure you all hit the like button, support the great sa.neter, support what's taking place. And my support is also scrolling at the bottom for anyone who wants to support me. Okay. So I'll just give a few moments, and while I am given a few moments, because I like to be interactive with those who are taking in the information, right? Just to interact a little bit. And while I do that, let me switch back to this camera. One of the great brothers of the House of Aten, he creates these unguents, these wonderful scents here. And here is the scent, and I always bring these to my sessions. Those who come to the Scribal sessions know. Here is Kinu, right? Kinu, very powerful scent. So shout out to the great Atef Rim Kim Ma'at. And his wonderful scents that he brought to the Pathways to Awakening this year. So peace and love, Atef Rim Kim Ma'at. Okay, let me check here. Okay, we see Ptahhotep. Peace, Ptahhotep. She says, Lake of Fire. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, wonderful. So what you see here, this is a language, right? So this is the Nes word for fire, which then also creates the word for tongue. So that is one of the reasons why the king is called Nesu. That Nesu is the fiery tongue, to spit fire, literally, which is all throughout the teachings of Ma'at. And this is also a word, set. Set is a word that means fire as well. So you see the fire going over, and then here are waves, right? When you see waves, in most cases, it's representative of the waters, right? So Nu, you'll see the waves, which is the letter N, creates the letter N and the letter M. Nu is water. And so here is the flame that is creating the waves here that the Sa are guarding and protecting, right? They're the guardians. And Tehuti is known as the one who brought forth Heka'u, which is the Medu word for magic. Heka, from the root word hek, and creates the word hook, right? And so that's the actual symbol, is the hook. That's the Heka, which is directly attached to your speech and what you speak, because what you speak either hooks something in, and that's in the actual music, the thing that repeats itself, that catches you, that's called the hook. That's the heka. And so that's the magic, and that's Tehuti, who is a representation of the baboon. So the Sa, who is the baboon, would also be the magician and utilizing the magic to protect. And this is something that is very important, because in today's time, magic has been given such a negative face that we no longer utilize heka, our ability to speak. We utilize it, but we utilize it for isfet reasons, because every time you speak, you're spelling, right? Spell in etymology means to speak. It's your speech. So when you speak, you're spelling, and then that later gets turned into your spells, and then it turns into hex from the heka, and then they turn heka into hex, making it a negative thing, and then they turn the hex into the six, so they associate the negative magic of the hex and apply that to the six, and then give that number to Satan. And that wasn't what we taught, and that wasn't what we utilized. We utilized heka for protection, to protect ourselves from evil. That's literally what we use heka for. And we no longer embody ourselves as magicians, as ones who are able to speak into existence, by ones who are able to protect by your speech. And we're actually, a majority of people are utilizing their speech to harm, which is the purpose of the ones who then took heka, which is a protective magic, and turn it into something negative, and which is just a lie. That's isfet. So when you just jump right over that which is in between, and I just take you to the source, you're going to see magician, and you're going to see guardian and protector. You're going to see sacred. When I just throw you all the way back to the source, it eliminates, the lies that were placed within the middle. So our speech is utterly important, which is why when I show Ptahhotep, and when he teaches how to speak and how you should speak, when you are, especially in the presence of groups of people and you're teaching, and to not engage in anger speech, to not engage in that type of conversion. So we always understood that, because it depends on what side you're actually on, right? I'm on the side of Ma'at. I'm on the side of Hetep, peace, Mary, and attaining that, of course, is a battle, right? We are in a battle. We are in a war. So it is not sunshine and rainbows and flowers at all. And so, part of the reason why I introduced this class with tones the way that I do, to give another side, because I can express differently than if I'm speaking and teaching. So yes, Sa'u is the magician and the guardian and the surveillance, who the four Sas are sitting on a lake of fire here in 1250 BCE. All right, so as we continue on the same page, page 33, you see Aset here, the wonderful and lovely Aset, and she is holding her hands on the Shenu, a word that means to encircle and is associated with eternity, what the king's names would go in, to keep the name to live forever. And so here she is guarding and protecting the Shenu here. And we're going to read this. So here we are. And this is page 229. And this is E.A. Wallace Budge per M. Haru. And I like to bring this one forward because this is usually the most accessible one for people and the most easiest to begin to learn to read. And so once you start somewhere, then you can begin to do what I'm teaching in this class and examine and start to do your own research. So yes, this transliteration system that Bud used is no longer implemented. So a lot of people say it's outdated. It's outdated, which is semi-true. That's not fully true because this Medu is correct. And a good majority of the translations are correct as well and close. And then you can, of course, take away what's not and then replace what is. So here we are, and everyone can get this book. Is very accessible. And another book that I also recommend is A Pert and Maru from Stephen Quirk. It's called Coming Forth in Daylight. And it has all the chapters of the Pert and Maru in transliteration and translation. They don't really create them with the Medu no more. It's another reason why I like reading this, so I can look at the Medu, and then I can pull up the actual papyrus and double check, read, make sure. So this is what we do, right? So saith Aset, I have come that I may be what? Sa, ka sa, that I may be thy protector. Aset as the protector or the protectress, because she is the one who also utilizes heka'u and words of power. Okay. I waft to thee winds to thy nose, and the north winds to thy nostrils, coming forth from Temu, creates Atum, as I read in the very beginning, embodying Atum. My arms are Atum, my face is Atum, my body, my back is Atum, embodying the Neter, because I am a Neter. As a complete Neter, Tem means complete. So I'm coming forth from Temu. I have collected for thee thy lungs. I have granted that thou mightest be, or that exist, as a Neter. So Aset is granting you the ability to be a Neter through her protection and through by utilizing her wings, just as she did as a Sar, to bring breath back into the body, right? That word nifu is the Medu word for breath. So Aset grants that thou mightest be as a Neter, as a god. Thine enemies have fallen under thy feet. Thou hast made to triumph, Sama'a Kuru, to be triumphant. Ma'a, true of Keru, voice. What I was speaking of, the name and the titles of those who are within the house of Aten are Keru. So to be Sma'a Kuru is to be triumphant and mighty. And where are you? In Nut. Nut, which in the entryway of Nut within the mouth is the beginning of the Duat. So being powerful with the Neteru. So you are a Neter, being Usir, that you see with the staff here, with this particular Ankh that I hold, which is Ankh Dejed Usir, that you always see Ptah holding. That Usir is power. And that Dejed is stability of life. And up here is a symbol with two arms up, and it means He, another eternity. So immortal. And then here is the Shenu, right? All immortality and firmness through power, right? And so this is what Aset is bringing forward for you. The word Sa is a magical tone used for protection and guardianship through the knowledge of spells. To be wise in its root means to see, which directly connects you to knowledge. This is where the concept of the third eye comes from, in Ma'at, meaning to see. We recognize this as the Tet Ma'at, or the first eye. So to be wise, here in etymology, takes you all the way back from the Pi root weed to see, or uid, to see, hence to know. So to see is to know, dealing with your knowledge, and that creates the wisdom, your sight, right? Why you see the Sa giving dua to the Uachit, and why that is associated with Tehuti, as Tehuti is the one who does so. So wise is to see, which means to know. The sight is given by an associate of Tehuti in his place, as he is the one who heals the blind or injured the eye. This then becomes your story as the resurrected body of Ra traversing through the Duat. So Tehuti is the one who heals the blind, right? This going into the sight, and he also healed the eye of Heru. And so that story continues in multiple ways, but because there's a lack of teachings of the writings themselves, because there's so many that within one lifetime, you'll only get through a very small percentage of the writings. So yes, it is Tehuti who heals the blind or the injured eye. This then becomes your story as the resurrected body of Ra traversing through the Duat. Here, you will see other beings that are also of bodily state, including the one who holds the uninjured eye. Because the followers of Ma'at were so deep and poetic in their ability to communicate, this also becomes, when broken down piece by piece, mathematical fractions. What am I speaking of? Right? The Uwachit, the uninjured eye of Heru. So this is me. I was performing at something that's called the African Poetic Festival, and this is how I step out, representing the Neteru and walking with a particular protection with my sight, because the artistry that I bring forward is very intentional, right? And so here you see the great Saba Tehuti wearing the Uwachit, right? And you see it on his bag here. So this is the Uwachit, which is the uninjured eye of Heru. Source of notation of measures of capacity used of eye of Ra. So now the eye, the Uwachit or Uchat, is representing measures of capacity. So let me show you. So I put together something for everyone. And here is the Uwachit or the Uchat. Here, the uninjured eye of Heru, measures and capacity. And so now the corn measure, which is the Hekat, right? So now we're right back to the Heka, and you see the hook. So the Heka is a measure, and then it creates the word for ruler of God or Pharaoh. Determinatives. Uh-oh, there's that hawk again. There's Heru on the standard again. Ruler, to rule over, to govern, and rulership. Rulership. And so when you start to break down the eye here, it becomes mathematical fractions. Each section of the eye is representative of a fraction. So you have the smell, which is 1/2 of a hekat, of a measure. Sight, 1/4. Thought, 1/8, which is the eyebrow, but also is simultaneously taught through symbology of the horn. The horn, which is the word up, which means to open something up, which your thoughts are what allows something to open up. If you think, if you know, and if you bring forward that thought process, you're then able to create it, right? So the thought is the horn that opens up reality. Hearing, 1/16, taste, 132, and touch, 164. Your 6 senses. You know, one of the senses has been lost, which is thought, which is the most important. So we talk about having 6 senses, and those 6 senses put together, right? They're their own thing simultaneously, but when you bring them together, it creates this. It creates an eye dealing with an uninjured sight to heal by utilizing all your senses. So that's very beautiful, the way that we were able to, again, be poetic within our teaching strategy that can be relatable, because you have an eye and you have all these different senses, and then being able to utilize them simultaneously, equally, and in conjunction with one another, it now creates a healed sight. that gives you a different type of sight than what most people have. And so because of that, you're now able to tap into some powerful things, right? As the Neteru taught. So here, page 513 of the Ancient Egyptian Dictionary, here's Hek, sa.neter. The Hek, again, dealing with the Heka, the rulership and the utterance, the magical tone that you use to govern your reality. All of these teachings today that speak about, these things originate from a source that are far deeper and expressive and presentable than what people give it credit for. And one of the reasons why I'm here is to showcase that, and to showcase the teachings of Ma'at through the scribes of Ma'at, to begin to clean out the isfet, right? And so that is actually what makes up what people today know as the 42 negative confessions, that they call the 42 negative confessions. But that's not what that's called. The actual writings themselves, because we don't have to make up what it means. We can go to the writing, we can go to the papyrus and read it. And when we read it, before you get into the 42, which are also representative of 42 different Neteru, it is Pekah M Ku. Pekah M Ku, not 42 laws of Ma'at. Okay? Pekah M Ku, which means Pekah is to remove something, to get rid of. To get rid of. So your Pekah M Ku. Ku is a word that means negativity, isfet, right? You're removing aspects that can be heavy on you, that you do not want when you are traversing through the duat, that you don't want here in actual life as well. You don't want to walk around with things that burden and weigh heavy on you, right? You want to be able to pekah imku and remove that. There are a lot of emotions that can weigh heavy on. That's why that language is spoken in the way that it is. Things that weigh heavy on you and keep you down, and then creates the word depressed, to be pressed in deep, right? That's the depression that comes from the heavy things that are weighing you down, pressing you down. And so this is the purpose of Pekah M Ku, by saying, I have not, I have not, I have not. By removing, every time you say I have not, you're removing it from you. Even if you have, right? You remove it from you piece by piece until you're free of that. And your shu, right? You're light as a feather. Shu is the word is the feather that we see being representative of Ma'at. And shu is a word for air, right? It's not just the principle of air. Shu is many things. Shu also means light. Shu is also Aten. Shu is also Ra. So it's not just air, right? There's so many words that shu means. Shu is also a blank piece of papyrus. And it means to rise up. So when you are Pekah Imku, you're removing the heaviness from you to allow your Ebe to be light so that you can fly. You cannot lift off the ground if you're heavy. And that ties right back into the ability to have conscious experiences outside of this physical body. When you're weighed down with the matrix, when you're weighed down with all of these different things and isfet in your mind that's blocking you from your superpower, that's keeping you in a Windows 98 software, you're not able to do some powerful things. But by allowing yourself to be cleansed and removing those things that are heavy, you now become light. And so you can fly, right? And that's how we taught the removal of those things that you don't want to take with you, right? You want to leave it here. When you start fresh on something, you leave it there. You don't, take everything with you to where you're going. If you're starting fresh somewhere, you leave everything where it's at, you know what, and I'm going somewhere else. But if it still exists within you, then it's going to build right back up, because everything that you experience around you is only a byproduct of that which is what's happening within you. So if there's a lot of argumentative within self, right, that you see happening, it's because there's a disorganization within and in your environment, right? There's a lot of factors that play into that, and it's all written within the sa.neter for different classes, but just for this particular class, and showing the importance of cleaning self so that you can come forth light and build and fly, right? We all want to fly. And everyone has the ability to do that. And by learning about the ka, the double body, you can then take what people know as sleep paralysis, which then gets turned into something negative, because again, it's all about the mental. It's about the thought process. So if you're in a paralysis and you don't have the understanding of what's taking place, you then create a reality in your mind that then allows your experience to be of negativity, right? Of something that is negative. But you can change that with the thought. And by remaining calm and breathing, you can take a scary experience, and then it can turn into the most beautiful thing you've ever experienced. The most powerful outer world thing that you have ever experienced, by calming and allowing yourself the opportunity to become light and fly, right? And this is something that we have the ability to do if we dedicate ourselves to Pekka Ku. And so this is Heka sa.neter, which is a title of Heru. Because of the calculation that goes into observing as one who inspects, this becomes the act of judgment. This is something enacted with every single decision one makes. So judgment is not just one thing that you're going to go through at one particular time. A judgment is every decision you make is a judgment, right? And you judge self. Before I can come up to this panel and allow anybody to begin to judge me, I've already judged myself. I've already weighed my scales. I've already Pekka Ku and cleaned myself. So as I come forward, I've already been judged before anyone else can judge. And that allows you to obtain a power to where nothing outside of you can alter you, right? You are in ultimate control, which is why we hold the staffs of power, because you are the one who are in control of what happens with you, because it happens in your mind first, and how you experience something, which can switch. The frequency can switch with just a thought change, and an expansion of perspective can change your thought, which then eliminates a negative feeling that you may have, or positive. It can go either way. That's the thing about ma'at. It's in the middle. It's met. It's not greater on one side or the other. It's all based on you as the individual ka, as the individual person. So judge, what does judge mean in etymology? To examine, which is what ma'at means, to examine. Appraise, make a diagnosis. To make a decision, to decide, to think, and suppose. Making a decision is a judgment. Here it is. I'm not making it up. It's right here. Make a decision, decide, think, suppose. To think is to judge. Use, right, law, right? Taking you right back to ma'at. That's the original teachings of judgment, right? And then it gets created within our understanding of today, is just mixed in with a bunch of other stuff. See, just, to be just. Root, desir, to say, right? Going back to the dik, which is to point out or to show, right here. Paru, show, creating your diction. to show, to pronounce solemnly. And so here is the Medu word for judge. Ucha. Ucha Medu. To judge, to litigate, to have judgment, to judge through speech, Medu, just as you see here. To judge, to decide, to suppose, to write law, just, to say, to show, to pronounce solemnly. So our understanding of judgment is all backwards. And we have to allow ourselves the ability to open up what we thought we may have knew prior, and it just expand, because it's a beautiful thing when one begins to take a thought and then allow it to express itself in multiple ways. But by understanding the root of it, you're then able to have a foundation. So the Ucha Medu is the judgment of the words that you speak, that I also read in the Tut of Horemheb, when it speaks about Tehuti, who judges everyone through their utterance. That's Ucha Medu, judge. Which then also takes you right back into protective spells. The Ucha Ucha, healthy judgment, a protective spell and an amulet through the command. Uch Medu. The root word of Ucha, or Uachit, is Uch here, which means to command, to speak, right? To control, govern people, command. So now let me show you the depth, right? Because it goes deep. It continues. It continues as you continue to dig, as the ibis bird, right, digs into the ground, which is why it's a representative of Tehuti. It's not that Tehuti had an actual head of an ibis. We saw the ibis digging into the ground, and we tied that and associated that to digging for information and digging into knowledge, which ties you right back into sight, which is why you see the baboon bringing the eye, giving the dua to the eye to illuminate and expand your sight, right? By creating protective utterance around you. Spell is just means to speak, a protective speech around you, and you're able to command, and that creates the judgment that you make for yourself before anyone can judge you. So let's take that even further. So the number 10 here, the word for 10 is mech. And the beautiful thing about the Medu is there are a lot of words that are able to be interchanged and letters. The D, the T, these are the same letters, the ta, and in the Medu. I can show in the Medu a word being spelled with the bread loaf, and the same word being spelled with the hobble, and the same word being spelled with the serpent here, the cha. So we absolutely were able to interchange these symbols, the D, the T, the cha, the ta, the ka, the K, the Q, the G. It was all interchangeable. So that's why knowledge is the gnosis, which is spelled with the G. And so met or mech is the number 10 to speak, and mech also means deep, right? Because we understood the depth that we were creating. Just as today, as I bring it forward to you, you can see the depth. So that is also the number 10, dealing with the met in the speech. Takes you right back to the commandment that's taking place here through the uch met du, the commanding, which is the number 10. So now I'm going to take you to the 10th hour, the met hour of the writings that we titled the Amduat, that many of you may see it spelled like this, the Amduat, right here. And so I went and transcribed the actual name of this writing here, again, to bring forward the writings of the scribes themselves, so we can know what was actually said and we don't have to guess. Okay, so I transcribed it, transliterated it, and translated it for everyone. So here we are. First word is sesh, right? The writings of the hidden realm, the Amenet. Amen, to be hidden, and T, which is the feminine add-on, which is the bread loaf, right? Which then becomes the word for Lord. Loaf and Lord is the same word. And the loaf was a feminine aspect. So it made a word feminine when you added the bread loaf to a word. So here is the hidden realm, the positions of the Ba'u, the Neteru, the shadows, the Aku, and what is done. The front is the horn of the west, the gate of the western horizon. The end is unified darkness, Smawi Keku. The gate of the western horizon, Saba and Aket Aminet. The gate of the western horizon, to know the Ba'u, Ba, which is the word for soul. That's translated in English today, but they'll also translate Ka to soul. They'll translate Aku to soul or spirit. But soul and spirit are two words that do not make up none of these words, but that's a whole nother class. But when we look at the 9 aspects of your immortal self, none of them mean spirit or soul, which then all just means breath. The Medu word for breath is Nifu, right? And it's not one of these 9. It's not Ba'u, it's not Ka, it's not Shu. It's not none of these. It's not Ren, which is your name. So again, we have to relearn what even spirit and soul is, and what you want it to mean by going into the Medu, the ones who taught it first and utilized the tones that they brought forth. So to know, Rek, Ba'u, to know the Bas of the Duatiu, knowledge of what is done. To create, what is done is Eri'u, what is done. So that's the creation, which is the glyph of an eye. Again, your eye being used to create what is done. Your sight, your thought is what's being used to create what is done. So knowledge of what is done, to know the transfigurations of Ra, Sa'aku, Sin, and Ra. To know the secrets of the Ba'u, to know what is in the hours and their Neteru, to know what he calls them, to know the gates and the ways upon that which the great Neter passes, to know the courses of the hours and their Neteru, to know the flourishing and the annihilated. So this is the actual title of the Imiduat here. All of this. And it's all about Rek, knowing, to know something, right? Which then again ties you back into this, to see. What wisdom, wise, to see, hence to know. So all of this is to know what is done, to know the gates, to know the Neter, to know the names, right? To know the transfigurations. This is the knowledge that we are to know. So here is a wonderful book that everyone should pick up if you want to know what is in these writings themselves. The Egyptian Amduat, Book of the Hidden Chamber. And this is as seen in the tomb of Tehutimos III. Pausing by the person of this great Neter in this cavern, he gives order to the Neteru who are in it, which is Uch Medu. Uch Medu. Okay? And so here we are at the 10th hour, the Met hour, page 306. 8 goddesses, all with was and ankhs in their hands. The first 4 lion-headed and following by a sitting baboon holding the Uachet eye in his hands. Here's the baboon holding the eye again. And so let's read these, the names of the Neteret. These are 8 Neterets who stand before the eye that are different forms of Sekhmet, right? So the first one is Sekhmet, the powerful one. Then we have Menkeret. Then we have Hunet, the maiden. The Uaset, she of the scepter. The Uput, Neteru S, messenger of the Neteru. Irit, Tatenin, whom Tatenin has made. She who is standing, Ahat. She with a powerful arm. And the flesh who carries his eye. the flesh who carries his eye, the goddesses who inspect the eye of Heru for him in the Neter. So this is translation of what's happening here. So the Neteru, the Neterets specifically, are inspecting the eye of Heru for him, which is you traveling through the Duat. Ray says to them that you inspect the eye of Heru for him. So now they're inspecting your eye, that you may make firm. Here we go, make firm, samin, right? Just as I showed earlier, min, and you put an S in front of a Medu word, it usually puts it into action. So if min means firm, you put an S in front of it, and now it means to make firm. So you're samin, you make firm the eye of Heru for him, you make it exist, that you appease Heru with his image, which is Tut, and that you give strength to Heru with his eye, that you establish for him his prime eye. Now you're samin, the prime eye. Now there's a prime eye, right? What is in the forms of flesh who carries his eye? You are those who salute Heru. Power to your forms, you powerful ones, who came into being and caused manifestations to become. With what they have done in the Neter, in the Duat, protecting the eye of Heru for him, letting the brilliant eye, the Aket, to shine bright, letting the brilliant eye be healthy. Here's the Ucha, be healthy day after day. And here is Af, Ottoman, REF, who is an ape-headed associate of Tehuti, who is here, right here, holding the eye, ready to present it to you once the 8 Neterets inspect you, right? Now you're going through a cleansing process again to be able to be handed and given the sight that is complete and the sight that allows all of your senses to be utilized, right? So we take the teachings of this right here, of going through the Duat, and you apply it to your living life here as well, right? And we always understood the power of the Neteret and the women that play a vital, important role, the feminine aspect of us attaining immortality. And here is prime, right? His prime eye, prime, which is first. So here is the actual writings of the first eye being written about in the Immiduat and Tehuti Most III's per head in his house of eternity. I believe I'm the first and maybe the only one to be able to show in actual artifacts of what people today call the third eye, and how that's not what we taught. We taught it as being the prime eye. It's the first eye. Comes from per, which is the Medu word to come forth, per imheru, to come forth. So prime comes from per, which is forward, the Medu per. So yes, the first eye is a teaching of Ma'at and learning how to take the sight of all your senses and make it first, not just these 2 eyes here. Those are your secondary sight. Your prime sight is the Ucha, right? Which takes you right back to wise, to see, right? Modern slang meaning aware or cunning. Cunning means wise, as you see here in the actual etymology itself. Learned, sagacious, cunning, sane, prudent, discreet, experienced, having the power of discerning and judging rightly is wisdom. And so that takes us again to sa, which sa is a word that means a wise man. Sa is a wise man here in the Medu. Wisdom, prudence, experience, to show oneself wise, to show oneself skillful, experienced, and knowledgeable, learned, intelligent, ingenious, skillful, competent, qualified. That's sa, which is also the magician, right? As a protection and an amulet, sa. used in parallel. What's the magician used in parallel with that we always connected? Sunu, doctor. The doctors were magicians as owners and supplier of protection amulets of Sa. So we did not separate. We didn't separate. It was all used together. And it's something that I really appreciate about the followers of Ma'at and being able to do multiple things at one time. In modern times today, it's either like one thing or the other. It either has to be this or it has to be that. You know, it cannot be this and that. It's only this, and that's not right. That's not real. This ain't that. That ain't this. But in Ma'at, we always taught the relationship between the two, between the seen and the unseen, and tied it into, and then that creates your rec, which is knowledge, which then creates your science. So it was the implementation of both and utilizing your power as a being that can create through your speech, through your thoughts, and tying that into the herbs, right? Both. So then this becomes a name of Asar as Sa, Sa as the shepherd, a title of Asar, page 587 here. So Sa is the shepherd, which is a title of Asar, right? The wise man and the magician. Asar being the heir to the throne in which he is the Sa, son, who is the ram, which makes Asar the lamb of Amen, the shepherd. This then begins again with Heru, son of Asar, from the lamb to the ram, right? From the child to the adult, right? The continuation and the revolution of that, from the lamb to the ram, which the ram is Amen. And it continues forward, which is why these writings exist, for you to have the ability yourself to ascend mortality and subjection to death, not dying a second death, as the Pert Imheru teaches. So here is the papyrus of Nu, British Museum number EA 10477. This particular one is plate 15. And here is the actual writing on the papyrus itself of Asar here. Sa, Asar Sa, the shepherd, Osiris the shepherd, which is the protector, the one who guides, right? And so here is Sa, which is also the ram or the sheep, right? The ram, as Sa is Asar, as the lamb into the ram, as you see here, which is also Ra as well. And Au, which is flesh and bone, and Au, which is the divine flesh or the God's body. Here's the original word of God body. It's Au, which is the flesh and bone, the joint of the heir, the child and the heir. As a farmer, which Asar is the farmer. So utilizing the farming tools as the shepherd, right? And then is resurrected through the growing of the plants, right? Through the inundation of the Nile. So this is what then begins to create all these other systems, but understanding the source and the root allows you to tie yourself into deeper information that actually assists you and that allows you to walk a particular way. And then again, begin to cleanse so you can resurrect and become like the serpent and shedding your skin. And for those who go to my website, metaneter.com or metaneter.media, I have both. I have a project called Scribal Sessions Volume 1. And on there, there's a tome titled Shed. And it's literally about that. Shed. Closed my eyes, then I woke up back in my bed. I can see my room as clear as looking through a lens. See, I thought I was awake until I tried to move. Then my body shocked me like I was plugged in a socket. I started panicking and scrambling within the mental. I thought I died and I'm forever locked in. So understanding that we are shedding, right? And being like the serpent, which the Medu word is neck or nook, which is the same word for eye, nook, to shed as the serpent, becoming seta, which is the word to mean to tut, again, the image or to echo yourself out, create multiple images of yourself to echo yourself out. And so, yes, Sa, the ram, is the farmer or the husbandman, right? Beginning as the child or the heir, becoming the flesh and bone, the divine flesh of the God's body, as Sa, the shepherd. The scribes of Ma'at were extremely clear as to what it means to transform from flesh into an eternal being through resurrection. Just as going from the flesh into immortality, the same happens in reverse. The Neteru, being physical beings that walk the planet, was something that was never questioned throughout the entirety of Smatawi history. It is only today that this insertion is perpetuated. Again, this is why I am here today. I stand with and for the scribes of Ma'at and demand that their words be respected and honored. We were intelligent enough to speak for ourselves, and by doing so, guided the planet into writings of immortality by living a life of Ma'at through following the Seba'it guidance, in which everyone can use to ascend as a person, regardless of religion of standing. Let me bring you to a scribal school text that shines a light on the importance of why we write. So here we are, EA 10684,3, again, the British Museum, 19th Dynasty, Papyrus Chester Beatty 4. And this is called the Immortality of Writers. If you but do this, you are versed in writings. As to those learned scribes of the time that came after the gods, as those learned scribes of the time that came after the gods. And there's a little 1 right here saying go to footnote number 1. So I put the footnotes down here for everyone. 1, i.e., the early days of mankind when the gods had ceased to live on earth. There was no question what the scribes taught. And who else were they? They were the ones who foretold the future. They were the ones who brought prophecy. Their names having become everlasting while they departed, having finished their lives, and all their kin are forgotten. Is there one like Hardadef? Is there another like Imhotep? None of our kin is like Neferti or Keti, the foremost among them. All these are scribes. I give you the name of Ptah Jehuti, of Ka Kepera Seneb. Is there another like Ptahhotep, or the equal of Ka-Res? Those sages who foretold the future, what came from their mouth occurred. It is found as their pronouncement. It is written in their books. The children of others are given to them to be heirs as their own children. They hid their magic from the masses. It is read in their instructions. Death made their names forgotten, but books made them remembered. Dua to the great ancestors, to the great scribes, for putting in that work, and giving the guidance that they did, and giving honor and reverence, just as this scribe here gave honor and reverence to the ones that came before him, the scribes that came before him, including Imhotep. Here is a beautiful statue at the Michael Carlos Museum here, 722 BCE, of Imhotep holding a papyrus that you see there. It is because we wrote that these teachings could be continued on in later periods. Even well after Alexander III and the Greeks ruled, we continued to write the laws of Ma'at. Let me take you to the papyrus of Horemheb to close out this session. Again, Tua everyone for your attention, Tua for being here, and for those of you who supported sa.neter in this particular class. And I haven't checked mine, but if anyone has supported me, I appreciate you. So as we come to the conclusion here, the Ptahhotep, Medu word for the end of something, which is the backside of a lion. And here we are, Ancient Egyptian Literature by Miriam Lithium, page 210. And this is the Papyrus Issenger with Wisdom Teachings. And this particular papyrus dates to 100 BCE to about 100 AD. 100 BCE to 100 AD. So right there in that time between where the coming in of the Common Era was taking place. And here are writings of Ma'at, Wisdom Teachings. So let's read. And I'm going to translate God to Neter. The Neter lets him escape from slaughter after having bound him. One says a wonder of the Neter when one is in fear without fault. He guards at night against the reptiles of the dark. He directs the heart and the tongue by his commands, right? You direct the heart and the tongue by your ut, creating that word uchu or ucha through the command. He gives good judgment through the counsel which no one knows. He creates abundant value without there being a storehouse behind him. You are the abundance when you choose to follow Ma'at and implement the teachings to be able to have good discernment and good judgment and make wise decisions. That creates an abundance of value for you without having nothing behind you. It is he who makes the way safe without there being a guard. It is he, the Neter, who gives the just law without there being a judgment. He lets the great of birth be great in his lifetime because of his mercy. He makes the poor beggar a master because he knows his heart. The impious man does not say, there is the Neter and the fortune which he decrees. He who says it cannot happen, the ones who say, I can't do that or you can't do that, should look into what is hidden. Law of Ma'at. How do the sun and moon go and come in the sky? Whence go and come water, fire, and wind? Through whom do amulet and spell become remedies? The hidden work of the Neter, he makes it known on earth daily. He created light and darkness, in which is every creature. He created the earth, begetting millions, swallowing them up and begetting again. He created day, month, and year, through the commands of the Lord of command. He created summer and winter through the rising and setting of Sophis or Septet, which is the Septi star, which then is associated with Aset and the 70-day hidden state of the Sapti. And when it would rise on that 70th day, it would allow for the rising and the flooding of the Nile, the Sapti star. So he created summer and winter through the rising and setting of the Sapti. He created food before those who are alive, the wonder of the fields. He created the constellation of those that are in the sky, so that those on earth should learn them. He created sweet water in it, which all the lands desire. He created the breath in the egg, though there is no access to it. He created birth in every womb, from the semen which they receive. Remember from way in the beginning, where I speak about the consistency of the laws of Ma'at, right? From Ptahhotep in 2300, 24th century BCE, all the way to 100 BCE. It's consistent. He created sinews and bones out of the same semen. He created going and coming in the whole earth through the trembling of the ground. He created sleep to end weariness, waking for looking after food. He created remedies to end illness, wine to end affliction. This papyrus is a powerful guide and reference to the continuation and influence of Ma'at during the time of the transition from the Greek Empire to the Roman, from the BCEs to the CEs. And I will close out with this final section of the Seba'it here from the same papyrus. The great Neter Tehuti has set a balance in order to make right measure on earth by it. He placed the heart hidden in the flesh for the right measure of its owner. If a learned man is not balanced, his learning does not avail. A fool who does not know balance is not far from trouble. If a fool is not balanced, he cannot live off another. Pride and arrogance are the ruin of their owner. One day is not like another for him whose heart cares. 1 hour is not like another in a lifetime without blame. It so befell in the beginning when the gods, when the Neteru were on earth. Consistent. No question about what the scribes of Ma'at taught. When Pri, which is Pa-Re, the Re, had weakened before the enemies, they weakened before him in turn. When Heru had been hidden behind the papyrus, he became ruler of the earth in turn, in which Aset had to hide Heru as a child. They hid him in the papyrus thicket to keep him safe from Set, who at that time was looking to kill. So Heru was hidden as a child. Happiness came to Aset out of misfortune after what she had undergone. Good steering comes out of trouble after grief. The Neter turns away fear in the straits when death is near. So when death is near, fear is gone because of this entire class. Violence, poverty, insult, and unkindness are never, never at rest. Violence, poverty, insult, and unkindness are never, never at rest. I have not burned to do evil. My heart, the Neteru, knows it. I have not taken vengeance on another. Another has not suffered on my account. The sin which I have committed unwittingly, I beg forgiveness for it. I call to the Neter to have mercy on me and give me sweetness. He removes the worry about prosperity without there being a reserve. He gives a lifetime without despair and a good burial. He relies on your heart on its way in its time. Apis and Mnevis abide at the window of Pharaoh forever. They will do good to him who will listen to these words, and to him who will say, the heart of the wise man, its reward is the eye of the Neter. The heart of the impious man who does not know breaks off. The end of the instruction, may his ba flourish forever. Paheb Hor, son of the Jed Horpan, his ba will serve Asar Sakar, the great Neter, the Lord of Abtu. May his ba and his body be young for all eternity. So dua everyone for your attention. Dua for participating, for those of you who participate in the chat and keep it active, which also helps that House of Consciousness here. Houseofaten.org is where you can go to support. We have shirts, we have merch, we have items, we have Hotep mats, we have bathroom items, we have everything, and continuously expanding and growing. We have new designs coming soon to represent the Neteru. So you can support us, houseofaten.org. You can support me and the tones that I create at medunetra.com. Follow us on YouTube as well, House of Aten, Tehuti Pod class. Every Saturday, everyone come to the Tehuti Pod class and learn, expand. House of Aten, we have our classes on Sundays as well. And for those who want to become a part of the House of Aten and come within the doorways, I also give Seba-Eat classes on Fridays for the great members of the House of Aten. So Dua, I am Scribe, Ptah, Ani Aten Tehuti, and I give you Dua for your attention and for your appreciation for those who hit the like button and those who supported the great elder sa.neter, and for those who supported me. So Tua, and that is the conclusion of my presentation, my session here at the House of Consciousness. So
like the video, thumb up the video.
Like the video, thumb up the video. Ha ha ha.
All right. Y'all already see what it is. We got the link in the chat. If y'all have any questions, the time is now. Great 3-hour powerful presentation for the first time coming on. He left so much. If y'all want to go over the video, of course it'll be up here. Y'all can go over it because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over it. I got to check it out again. But anyway, y'all, we got the link in the chat.